and stunting. And, he actually looked at the body, looked at the outward, and allowed that to lead him to praying to God to beautify the inward. Make my soul beautiful. Make my spirit beautiful in the same manner that you've beautified my form, right? But he didn't feel any need to curse the body, right? He did not feel a need to, deprecate the body, right? Which is unfortunately what some religious people think is the way to treat the body. That it's all about the soul. It's all about the spirit. No, we have a responsibility to our bodies, right? I remember, talking a little bit about my own story. A person told me, if you want to be an effective speaker, especially to high school students, don't just pontificate and toss out theories. And they want to hear stories. They want to hear your personal narrative. And, through high school, I was an athlete. I participated in sports. One of the biggest differences with my children and the way they're growing up when compared to how I grew up is they spend a lot more time in front of screens. Now, the screens you're sitting in front of now, you're sitting in front of out of necessity. Of course, we can't, meet in person because we're being socially distant. But we were encouraged, like, get out there. I mean, every season I participated in a different team sport. It was baseball, it was football, it was basketball, it was track and field. I mean, we played sports all the time. And, when I became Muslim, I converted to Islam in high school. A lot of my focus was kind of diverted from physical activity, and I began, to read more, to study more. I started, pursuing religious studies. I started studying the Arabic language. And as a result, I really, paid very little attention to my physical health. And I could actually feel my health worsening. I was leading a completely sedentary lifestyle, sitting at my desk, reading my books, memorizing. And in my mind, I had a real misconception. There was something that was like more religious about this, because I had taken to wearing, very big, baggy, robes, and I was dressing differently. And I felt like, wow, now I'm really working on fortifying my mind, building my spirit. I'm learning, and I'm not so, concerned with my body. And one of my teachers looked at me one day and he said, "Do you exercise?" I said, "Sheikh, I don't have any time for exercising, man. I'm memorizing, right? I'm exercising my mind." And he said to me, and I will never forget this, "Al-aqlu aqlun salimun fi jismin salimin," that a sound mind is inside of a sound body, right? A sound mind is inside of a sound body. It's good to read. It's good to study. It's good to memorize, but your body has a right over you. And when he said that, he was quoting the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Your body has a right over you, that you sleep adequately, that you try to eat well, that you exercise, that you engage in physical activity. Your body has a right over you. And this is not about swagger. This is not about sex appeal. This is not about being attractive to other people. This is about honoring your physical creation because God blessed you with it as a trust, right? Your body is something that has been entrusted to you. How will you regard it? How will you treat it? And from that day, I took to exercising. And at first, this was in Egypt, by the way. This was in Egypt. And exercising in Egypt can be hazardous. There's so much air pollution. One of my good friends, a cardiologist, he said, make sure you run like at night before the morning rush hour, because if you're running in the middle of the day in Egypt, that run could actually be more hazardous for you than helpful in terms of just the toxins and just the talawuth that you're kind of breathing in. So I would get up before Fajr. I would get up before the dawn prayer, and I would be there running down Abu Bakr Street, right? At the advice of my teacher, trying to get in shape. And this was something very unusual to Egyptians. People would see me and they would say, Rocky, Rocky. You know, that's when they saw me running on the street, Rocky, 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 right? And I said, is it unusual to exercise? And I learned that this culture of, you know, public exercise was something very unusual to them. And I said, well, if you look at the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I don't know that they had, you know, time dedicated to like specific kinds of training and exercise, but their lives were very, very active. You know, it's mentioned that when the Prophet, peace be upon him, would walk somewhere, right? He walked. So I said, he wasn't always right. When he would walk somewhere, he would return via a different route, right? It's mentioned that, you know, when they had to run errands and go places, these were people that walked. These were people that carried things. You know, these were people that their lives were intimately kind of woven with, you know, you had physical activity intimately woven into their lives. These were people that fasted, right? A lot of people might be surprised to learn that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was at least semi-vegetarian, right? That he would eat meat, maybe some people estimate a couple times a month, a few times a month, maybe, just because in the ancient world, right, eating meat was an extreme luxury, right? 70 to 80% of the Prophet's diet was fruits, grain, and dates, right? Specifically dates. This is what he ate. You know, Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, the household of the Prophet, peace be upon him, survived on the Aswadan. They said, what are the Aswadan? Dates and water. This was how the Prophet ate, right? Sayyidina Umar famously said, don't turn your stomach into a graveyard for animals, right? In terms of our tendency to overconsume meat, right? So even though they didn't have, a culture of public exercise, I don't know that they had a culture of dieting. My contention, maybe they didn't need a specific culture of exercise. Maybe they didn't need a specific culture of, you know, regimented eating or dieting because it was something natural to their lifestyles. We, on the other hand, oh my goodness, we have to be very intentional about what we eat. We have to be intentional about exercise just so that we can fulfill the right of our bodies, so that we can fulfill the right of our bodies, and so that we can be healthy, right? I mean, you know, Islam, the long short of it, Islam is about holistic wellness, right? Holistic wellness, so that we can be healthy in mind, healthy in spirit, and healthy in body. You know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, you know, something that is a challenge for me, right? And if I don't get anything else through in this short address, recognizing the interconnectedness of all three of those. You know, Imam Ghazali, the famous scholar, you know, he said, the hardest thing for me in my effort to reform myself morally was pulling my hand back from the plate after my appetite was satiated. You see, right? This is why we're engaging in fasting now. If you can discipline yourself with regard to how you eat and drink, you can discipline yourself with regard to anything. But if you eat impulsively, chances are you probably speak impulsively. You probably act impulsively. If you drink impulsively, right, chances are you have an issue controlling your impulses. But if you eat and drink conscientiously, it becomes easier to do other things conscientiously. So my message in short, I know that I was allotted a very short, amount of time, and we want to leave some time for prayer, is that take good care of yourselves, man. Take good care of yourselves. There's, don't relinquish to this culture of, lust and sex appeal and swagger and fashion. Don't relinquish to that culture concern for your body. Don't think that to be into your health, to be into wellness, is to be into conceit and arrogance and self-display, but rather to be conscious of your body, of your eating, of your exercise, of your wellness, is completely consonant and consistent with your commitment to your religion, with your commitment to your faith, with your commitment to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasalam. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. That was, I know you were speaking to everybody, but I felt like you were speaking directly to me. Jazakallah, thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to say that, the best thing that I took from that is kind of the how you do anything is how you do everything. Yes. That is just, think how Muhammad Sallallahu used to, how he does anything was how he honorably did everything. And that I think your body is something from Allah. And the same way that you have dominion over a car, and the same way that you treat a car, because that's what Allah has given you, your body is also something that Allah has given you. It's not your possession. And so treat it like a UPS driver, and don't treat it like the owner who just rips it apart. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah. Thank you so much.
It's a very powerful analogy.
Jazakallah. I just wanted to also, before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, that inshallah, we have a couple winners. And so the first winner of the raffle, which is an Averroes t-shirt, is a Sayyid Sayyidi. So is there a Sayyid Sayyidi in the audience? All right, well, inshallah, I believe Rebecca will contact Sayyid Sayyidi at a later date. And then also, inshallah, the student winners are Maha and Layla. They are tied. Maha Durrani and Layla bin Amr. They are tied, and inshallah, they'll be getting gift cards at school tomorrow. So thank you so much. Just a reminder that the next event is next Thursday and the Thursday after that. So, for Ramadan, inshallah, it's the Thursdays. And then again, as I said, just a last request, please, if, anybody would like, they can donate to Averroes via Venmo. Thank you so much. And I put the Venmo link. It's just at Averroes High School. Also, I wanted to say, thank you to Ubaydullah, brother Ubaydullah, mashallah. Whenever you say it, it's mashallah a blessing to say. So I like that name. I like that.
And just really quickly, if I could, Omar.
Yeah, take your time.
One thing that I did forget to mention is that, this is why I think this understanding of wellness, this is why it's important to support institutions like Averroes. It's unfortunately becoming increasingly rare to find, educational and pedagogical models in which wellness in our children is what is sought, as opposed to academic achievement in isolation, or graduating students that matriculate into elite colleges and universities. We want to graduate whole people. And this is perhaps the best contribution that we can make, to our society. And I think that, Averroes is an institution that focuses on that kind of contribution. And, this really should be a no-brainer in terms of why an institution like this one, deserves, our support, our prayers, our largesse, our financial contribution. This is what we have. Just the absolute last thing. I promise I'm going to shut my mouth, after this. I think there's a very good precedent for us, in the Catholic community. Once upon a time, American Catholics were regarded as a fifth column, in America. People thought, how can you be loyal to America and you're loyal to the Vatican? And rather than engaging in, a lot of like public campaigns to prove that they were loyal and they were patriotic, the Catholic community really focused on building institutions. And, hospitals and schools is really where they excelled, within higher education, secondary education, and hospitals. And it became something known in a lot of major metropolitan areas throughout America. If you want your children to get a good education, you send them to Catholic schools. And I think that, Muslims should make a similar, this is what we contribute to America. Not just telling people we're patriotic and we love peace but no, we produce good people. We produce we produce the kinds of citizens that you would want to have as your neighbors, that you would want to have as your colleagues, that you would want to have as your classmates. This is what we do well. So I'm really urging people to support Averroes. This institution is doing great work. And I just think that it would be to our great detriment and misfortune if we left it stranded. So please,
Thank you so much. I was actually, you mashallah said it better than I could, but that was the message that I was about to share as well. And that also, inshallah, I just wanted to say that, for those people on Facebook Live, they can also go directly to the website if, they don't have their phone or anything available, and you can donate there. So there's many ways to donate. You can donate from Venmo, you can, donate from the website, and then you can also donate from feelingblessed.org. Thank you guys all so much for attending, and inshallah, see you all next Thursday. Thank you so much again to Brother Ubaydullah, and thank you for all of the other members of Averroes who have joined us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.